The truth hit me hardest, not in the towering concrete jungles I was used to, but in the quiet, insistent hum of a city I had once dismissed as merely efficient. For 8 years, I, Lin Xiaoman, had navigated the globe as an international flight attendant from Chengdu, China, my life a blur of gleaming airport terminals and fleeting cityscapes. I'd walked the Champs, Élysées, stood in Times Square, gazed up at the Burj Khalifa, always with a certain detached amusement. Singapore, to me, was just another stop, a well-oiled machine, but one that somehow lacked the raw, sprawling dynamism I associated with true urban vitality. My understanding of progress had been shaped by the sheer, exhilarating scale of China's rapid ascent, Shanghai's dizzying skyline, Beijing's endless avenues, Chengdu's multi-layered expressways. Singapore's compact perfection, its meticulous planning, felt almost small. I'd often joked to colleagues on flights to Changi, only a few MRT lines. Don't your youngsters work overtime? Why do the hawker centers close so early? I saw a city that was perhaps functional, but certainly not grand. Its historical sites like the National Gallery or Fort Canning Park. Charming but lacking the ancient, imposing gravitas of a forbidden city or terracotta army. I rarely bothered to venture beyond the pristine bubble of my hotel, convinced there was little more to see than manicured gardens and spotless streets. Beautiful perhaps, but sterile, without the vibrant, sometimes chaotic, pulse of life I recognized. Then, a flight delay at Changi Airport, one sweltering afternoon, unexpectedly grounded me. Fidgeting in the departure lounge, my phone in hand, a gentle voice cut through my thoughts. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" I looked up to see a man in a pilot's uniform, his smile warm, eyes crinkling at the corners with a kind of quiet strength, like sunlight filtering through the canopy at Mac Ritchie. He introduced himself as Chen Jiaming, a captain for Singapore Airlines. He was around 1.76 meters, tanned and lean, clearly someone who spent time outdoors, his calm demeanor radiating a reassuring energy. What started as polite conversation about flight routes and airport anecdotes somehow veered into a spirited discussion about food, with me lamenting the perceived lack of authentic spice in Singaporean cuisine. Jiaming simply laughed, promising to introduce me to a side of Singapore I hadn't known existed. He spoke of the island's rich tapestry, from its bustling port history to its multicultural heritage districts, its unique blend of influences. Details I had overlooked, dismissed, or simply never encountered, suddenly took on a vibrant new life through his eyes. And slowly, imperceptibly, I found myself drawn to him. "What's your impression of Singapore now?" he asked, catching me off guard. I almost blurted out too orderly, a bit boring, but his sincere gaze made me pause. "It's unique," I conceded, "but I honestly don't really know it." He just smiled. "Next time you're free, I'd love to show you the real Singapore. Not the tourist spots, but where we Singaporeans truly live." That unexpected delay became the unexpected turning point. Over the next few months, whenever my route brought me to Changi, Jiaming would be there, a steady, patient presence. He didn't whisk me away to glitzy, high-end restaurants, but to humble hawker centers in the heartlands, like the one in Tiong Bahru, where we'd tuck into chili crab and fragrant Hainanese chicken rice, the salty sea breeze carrying the scent of wok hei. He showed me the serene beauty of the botanic gardens, shared stories of our nation's founding fathers in the hallowed halls of the National Museum, and taught me about the intricate art of Peranakan culture in Katong. He was unlike any man I'd dated before. No grand boasts of wealth or status, just a quiet, unwavering attentiveness. He'd remember my preference for unsweetened soy milk, bringing a warm cup to the airport upon my arrival. After long flights, he'd be waiting with a hot towel and muscle rub, gently easing the knots from my shoulders. He listened, truly listened, to my every frustration, not always offering solutions, but always making me feel understood, supported. Our love story blossomed amidst the humid evenings and the quiet dignity of this island. 6 months later, as the sun dipped below the horizon over East Coast Park, painting the sky in fiery hues, Jiaming proposed. And for a man from a city I'd once labeled too small, I didn't hesitate. Our wedding was a simple affair at a charming colonial church in Fort Canning, without the extravagance I had once imagined for myself, but filled with a warmth that felt profoundly real. My parents, initially wary of their daughter marrying and settling so far from Chengdu, were gradually swayed by Jiaming's sincerity and the genuine affection shown by his family. His mother, Madame Chen, a former schoolteacher, held my hands during the tea ceremony, her eyes moist. "Xiaoman, welcome to our family," She pressed a heavy gold bangle into my palm, a family heirloom, the weight of it anchoring me to this new chapter. In that moment, surrounded by this unexpected warmth, any lingering anxieties about living across the strait simply melted away. Married life in Singapore was an education. We bought a cozy HDB flat in Clementi, its balcony overlooking a vibrant hawker center, the sounds of morning chatter and sizzling woks drifting up. The balcony bloomed with pandan and curry leaves, gifts from Jiaming's mother. Inside, our shelves held souvenirs from our travels, my wishing well coin from Rome, his miniature Merlion from his first solo flight. Every morning, the scent of breakfast would rouse me. "What do you fancy today, dear? Kaya toast, or perhaps roti prata?" Jiaming would ask, meticulously preparing whatever I chose. I quickly discovered he was not only a skilled cook, but also took charge of the household, watering the plants, sorting laundry, always meticulously hand-washing my blue flight attendant uniform, careful not to distort the collar. "Why are you so good at looking after people?" I once asked, genuinely puzzled. He simply smiled. "Here, it's normal for men to help out. My father always helped my mother with dishes and laundry. I grew up seeing it. It just feels natural." This was a stark contrast to my upbringing, where my father rarely stepped into the kitchen, and past boyfriends viewed housework as women's work. This quiet, consistent care was like warm water, slowly seeping into the hardened corners of my heart. One night, a sudden, debilitating stomachache sent me doubling over in pain. Jiaming, without a word, rushed me to the nearest hospital. What truly shocked me was the care we received. The night nurse, far from being annoyed by the late hour, took my hand, guiding me to a private room, her voice soft and reassuring. "Don't worry, miss. The doctor will be right here. Have some warm water first." The doctor, a seasoned man in his 50s, hair streaked with silver, examined me thoroughly despite the 3 a.m. hour, explaining every possible cause and treatment plan with unwavering focus. During the examination, a nurse gently placed a blanket over me, concerned about the air conditioning. "I'm so sorry to trouble you all so late," I mumbled, embarrassed. The doctor simply smiled. "No trouble at all. It's our job to care for you, anytime. Just focus on getting better." Leaving the hospital, my eyes were moist. Back home, Jiaming had already brewed a comforting pot of ginger tea. In Chengdu, even during the day, a hospital visit meant long queues, rushed consultations, and an often impersonal experience, let alone an emergency in the dead of night. It was a sobering realization. Healthcare here wasn't a confrontational transaction, but a compassionate partnership. 3 months into my new life, it was time to file my taxes. Having always relied on my company in China to handle such matters, Singapore's tax system was a bewildering maze of forms and regulations. I braced myself for the usual bureaucratic headache. Instead, the local residence committee, RC, in my HDB block, had organized a free tax consultation session, and an elderly grassroots leader, Mr. Lim, had personally delivered a flyer to our door. MDM. Lin, next Wednesday, free tax consultation at the RC Center. Experts will explain everything. If you're unsure, just come with Jiaming, can. Mr. Lim, a jovial man in his 60s with kindly eyes, spoke with a thick Hokkien accent. "Really? No charge?" I asked, still skeptical. "Of course not," chimed in MDM. Wong, a community volunteer known for her helpfulness. "We do this every year. Help everyone file correctly, so nobody loses out." Jiaming took half a day off to accompany me. The tax consultant, a gentle lady in a pearl necklace, patiently walked me through the intricacies of Singapore's income tax, explaining deductions for mortgage interest and upgrading courses, even helping me fill out the complex forms. When she encountered a term I didn't understand, Jiaming translated. We worked until almost 11 p.m. To my astonishment, I not only owed no taxes, but received a refund. See, honest taxpayers are not penalized, but have their rights protected, the consultant, MDM, Lim, said, handing me a small self-made tax guide with color-coded notes. "Follow this next year." "Sure, no problem." Clutching the refund notice, my mind reeled. Back home, tax departments felt formidable, their processes opaque, their service often cold. Here, it was transparent, helpful, and utterly human. It forced me to confront an uncomfortable truth about public services. The difference wasn't just in efficiency, but in intent. My previous skepticism about Singapore's public transport had also been profound. Compared to the sprawling networks of Shanghai or Beijing, Singapore's system felt contained. Yet, my practical experience quickly shattered that illusion. One day, on a public bus to Vivo City, the driver braked abruptly, sending me sprawling. Immediately, 3 secondary school students helped me up, one offering tissues and a bottle of water. Her voice soft. "Auntie, are you okay? Need to see a doctor?" The bus captain, learning of my fall, not only stopped the bus to check on me, but deliberately paused for 10 minutes at the next stop, allowing me to recover. Other passengers, far from complaining about the delay, offered words of concern. An elderly gentleman with a walking stick came over, pressing a medicated patch into my hand. "This one my grandchild brought from Japan, good for bumps. Try it." My eyes welled up. Later, on a hectic day, I was running late for my flight from Changi. Rushing through the terminal, only 2 minutes to boarding, a ground staff member saw my distress, immediately contacted the gate via walkie-talkie, and personally escorted me through the crowds, even arranging an electric buggy to speed me to the gate. I barely made it, breathless, grabbing her hand. Thank you. She simply smiled. "No worries, it's our job. Have a safe flight." Whether it was the MRT, buses, or taxis, I consistently encountered a warm, underlying current of helpfulness. Taxi drivers were honest, cheerfully pointing out landmarks like Marina Bay Sands or Gardens by the Bay, sharing tidbits about local life. The difference was stark. These were not just systems, but networks of people infused with a palpable sense of civic responsibility. Even opening a bank account, an ordeal I dreaded, turned into a revelation. Expecting long queues and reams of paperwork, I was instead greeted by a friendly branch manager who offered me a hot cup of kopi, patiently explained every step, and even helped me fill out the forms, carefully handing me the pen for my signature. Compared to the often chaotic, impersonal experience of banking in China, this was almost disorienting. I had never imagined public services could be so attentive, so human-centered. Here, the systems genuinely seemed designed to serve people, not the other way around. As I settled into my 4th month, my life in Singapore grew richer with a new circle of friends, the elderly residents of our estate, Medium. Chen, Jiaming's mother, a whirlwind of energy in her retirement, was a prominent grassroots volunteer. She saw me glued to my phone at home and declared, "Xiaoman, tomorrow, come with Ma to the Senior Activity Center. We're making pineapple tarts. You can learn, then next time you miss home, you can make your own." I hesitated, clueless about baking, and a bit shy around strangers. But nublem. Chen's hopeful eyes swayed me. The next morning, the center buzzed with laughter. A dozen gray-haired aunties and uncles sat around a long table, kneading dough, slicing pineapple filling, chatting away. The air was sweet with pineapple and butter. "Madame, Chen, this is your Chengdu daughter-in-law? So pretty," exclaimed MDM. "Zhang, the resident baking expert. Jiaming told us you're a capable air stewardess. Today, you learn to be a good baker too." I blushed, explaining my lack of culinary skills. No problem, we teach you." Mr. Lee, an uncle with spectacles perched on his nose, chided, "Singaporeans are very warm, you'll learn fast." Their easy warmth melted my self-consciousness. I rolled up my sleeves and joined in. "Mdam." Zhang patiently guided my clumsy hands, teaching me the right consistency for the dough, the perfect amount of filling. My first attempts were lopsided, some bursting at the seams, a far cry from their perfectly golden tarts. "Aya, the filling is coming out," I groaned, looking at my misshapen creation. "Medium." Zhang patted my shoulder. "Never mind, first time always like that. This one, just think of it as a little tale. So cute, right?" The others chimed in with encouragement. And Mr. Lee even handed me one of his own perfect tarts. "Here, take this as a sample. Learn slowly." Looking at the tart in my hand, then at their kind, smiling faces, a wave of emotion washed over me. I remembered my grandmother, teaching me to make dandan noodles in Chengdu, laughing when I tangled the strands, telling me even broken noodles tasted good. This deep, familiar sense of belonging, so long absent, brought tears to my eyes. We baked all afternoon. The tarts, once baked, were golden and fragrant. The elders packed their own for me to take home. "Take this back for Jiaming. Let him have a taste too. Come often, it's always lively here." "MDM," Zhang insisted. From then on, I became a regular at the Senior Activity Center. I learned to make kue lapis, sang Hokkien folk songs with MDM, Zhang, and even attempted Tai Chi with Mr. Lee. These seniors, though advanced in years, were full of life. MDM, Zhang, a former opera singer, sang with an astonishing vibrancy. Mr. Lee, a retired fisherman, recounted tales of the sea with vivid passion. Mediem. Wang, adept at paper cutting, meticulously crafted a miniature hawker center scene for me, for you, so you can think of Singapore when you're away. I, in turn, shared stories of my travels, of Chengdu's hot pot and bustling night markets. They listened, captivated. "Wow, Chengdu is so beautiful, must visit someday," Zhang exclaimed. On an outing to the Botanic Gardens, I saw Mr. Lee carefully drawing a tiny orchid on a fan he was decorating. "This is for you, Xiaoman. The orchid is our national flower, special like you, our new family member." Holding that fan, with its delicate orchid and Mr. Lee's heartfelt sentiment, I felt a warmth that settled deep in my chest. They hadn't treated me as an outsider, a China bride, but as one of their own. Returning home, I saw Zhang feeling unwell with motion sickness. I immediately offered her my seat and some motion sickness medication. She squeezed my hand, her eyes glistening. "Xiaoman, you are truly a good child. Jiaming is so lucky to have you." I just smiled, knowing that I was no longer merely living in Singapore. I was part of it, accepted and loved. Countless small incidents continued to reshape my understanding. One busy morning, rushing to an appointment, I realized midway through a taxi ride that I'd forgotten my wallet. I braced myself for an angry lecture. Instead, the driver simply smiled. "No worries, miss. Next time, just remember, go for your appointment. I trust you." I fumbled for my phone, insisting I could pay digitally, but he waved me off. "No need. Just make a new friend. Say hello if you pass by again." This casual trust in a stranger was utterly shocking. In my previous city, forgetting a wallet meant a guaranteed disaster, certainly no such magnanimity. Another time, at a supermarket, I accidentally bought the wrong shampoo. When I sheepishly tried to return it, the staff member not only processed the exchange without question, but also apologized. "So sorry, our product labeling wasn't clear enough, caused you trouble." She then personally walked me to the aisle to help me choose the right one. This willingness to take responsibility, this genuine concern for the customer, warmed me to my core. In Singapore, service wasn't just a job, it was a way of respecting others. The most profound incident occurred one evening at a hawker center. A young mother suddenly collapsed, suffering an asthma attack. In my prior experience, such a scene might draw onlookers, maybe a few phone cameras. But here, people instantly sprang into action. Someone tended to her child, another called for an ambulance, and an elderly auntie quickly pulled out an inhaler from her bag, pressing it into the young woman's hand. "Quick, use this, dear, it'll help," she urged, her voice laced with genuine worry. The young mother used the inhaler, her breathing soon easing. When the paramedics arrived, people continued to help, moving stretchers, offering details to the medical staff. Witnessing this spontaneous outpouring of empathy, I was moved to tears. In this city I had once so casually dismissed, strangers were capable of such immediate, collective compassion. "Why are Singaporeans so quick to help others?" I later asked Jiaming. He pondered for a moment. "Perhaps because it's a small place, the connections between people feel stronger. We believe if I help someone today, tomorrow, when I need help, someone will offer their hand too. It's not about calculation. It's just how we live." As the months turned into half a year, I began noticing the subtle threads weaving this city together. Pedestrians spontaneously helping elders cross the road. Convenience stores offering umbrellas for loan on rainy days, no deposit needed, relying purely on trust. Hawkers remembering regular customers' orders. Community volunteers patiently teaching tourists about local wildlife. These seemingly insignificant details formed an invisible network of warmth, making everyone feel cared for, respected. As a new bride from mainland China, I initially worried about integrating. Would my accent be mocked? Would cultural differences lead to ostracization? Would political divides become social barriers? But these fears quickly dissipated. On our first day in the HDB flat, MDM, Wang, our neighbor downstairs, brought us homemade onde, a sweet, glutinous rice bowl, as a welcome gift. Mr. Lee, from next door, learning I was new to Singapore, compiled a meticulous Singapore living guide, a handwritten booklet detailing nearby hawker centers, clinics, market operating hours, and even the precise schedule for waste disposal and recycling. "Xiaoman, if you ever have any problems, just call me. No need to be shy. We are neighbors. We help each other." Singapore's waste disposal system was initially baffling to me. In Chengdu, despite campaigns, segregation was often lax. Here, it was precise. Recyclables, food waste, general waste, even specific bins for batteries and old clothes. When I casually mentioned my unfamiliarity, the RC organized a newcomer's waste disposal masterclass, where volunteers patiently taught me how to sort, when to dispose of which type of waste, and how to properly tie the refuse bags. They even gave me a comic-style handbook. Is this really necessary? So much effort for rubbish? I asked, a bit embarrassed. Of course it is, Madame, Wong insisted. Waste segregation isn't just for the environment. It's also about respecting each other's living space. We want you to be happy here, and we hope you'll help us keep our environment beautiful. I was stunned by this collective responsibility, this strong sense of community. In my hometown, even long-term neighbors might barely acknowledge each other. Here, strangers would extend themselves simply because you were part of the community. As a flight attendant, I needed to recertify in Singapore. I worried my China background might be a hurdle. Instead, the examiners were exceptionally patient, guiding me on nuances of local terminology and pronunciation to ensure I passed. We welcome talent from everywhere, the chief examiner smiled. No matter where you're from, if you're competent and professional, you're part of our team. This inclusiveness subtly shifted my self-perception. I stopped thinking of myself as a Chinese person working in Singapore and started to see myself as a member of Singaporean society. When I joined the Flight Attendant Union, they provided explanation documents in both English and Mandarin and even called to ensure I understood my rights and benefits. Miss Lin, if you have any questions about union benefits, just call us. We'll explain fully. The union staff were so personable, giving me a sense of professional dignity I'd never experienced. I never imagined a union would care so much about each member's rights and feelings, I told Jiaming. He nodded. That's what unions are for, to protect everyone's rights. It's not charity. It's the respect you deserve. 6 months flew by. The gentle warmth of Singapore, like a persistent spring drizzle, had seeped into my heart, silently transforming my expectations of life. On Jiaming's birthday, I planned a surprise party, inviting the seniors from the RC and his colleagues. I baked a chocolate cake and, channeling MDM, Zhang, made a batch of pineapple tarts. But Jiaming, as always, surprised me. He presented me with a takeaway box of Chengdu dandan noodles, my favorite, and a box of osmanthus-scented candles. He remembered a casual comment I'd made about a specific noodle shop back home. Why are you giving me gifts on your birthday? I asked, confused. He smiled. Because I know you miss home sometimes. Seeing you happy, that's the best birthday gift for me. In that moment, an overwhelming sense of belonging, a profound safety, enveloped me. In this place I had once deemed small and slow, I had found my true home, my true warmth. That evening, coming home from work, Jiaming was waiting on the balcony, as he always did, with my unsweetened soy milk and a warm towel. The evening light, soft and golden, bathed his face. A powerful emotion swelled within me. I knelt, the tears streaming down my face. What's wrong, dear? Did something happen at work? Did someone upset you? Jiaming knelt too, his voice full of concern, reaching out to wipe my tears. I shook my head, my voice choked. I never thought a place could treat people like this, that life could be lived with such dignity, such respect. From the empathetic care at the hospital, to the selfless help from neighbors, the trust from strangers, the meticulousness of public services, the professional respect from my union, to the quiet, daily acts of affection these seemingly ordinary things had, in 6 short months, utterly redefined my perception of life. They had healed a deep unspoken wound of navigating high-pressure, often impersonal environments. Jiaming simply held me, gently patting my back. Silly girl, he murmured. This is just how we are in Singapore, la. That simple, unassuming statement broke me entirely. For him this was normal, expected, not some special privilege. This social fabric, woven with threads of human kindness and dignity, was what my life had unknowingly lacked. From that day, I stopped saying your Singapore and began saying our Singapore. That subtle linguistic shift mirrored a profound change within. I started volunteering at the RC, joining MDM, Zhang's Hokkien singing group, and visiting elderly residents who lived alone. I even started an online column, sharing my experiences, documenting every touching moment, making pineapple tarts with the elders, the taxi driver's trust, the nurse's gentle touch. Welcome to Singapore, one of us now. read the most common comments. Each one a warm embrace, cementing my sense of belonging. Jiaming and I's love story, spanning continents, had also bridged cultural and psychological divides. Singapore's warmth, like a gentle breeze, had dispersed my prejudices, allowing me to redefine the very meaning of home. I now understood that true civilization wasn't measured by skyscrapers, but by the mutual respect and care between people. True happiness wasn't about wealth, but about living in a kind and empathetic environment. 3 years on, my belly swelled with new life. Jiaming and I would walk along East Coast Park, talking to our unborn child, sharing stories of this island. The elders treated me like precious cargo, Norm. Zhang bringing me homemade herbal tonics, Mr. Li buying tiny clothes, MDM. Wang sharing wisdom on raising children. My online column became a bridge, connecting netizens from China and Singapore. I even organized meetups, taking Chinese friends to hawker centers and heritage trails, and Singaporean friends to experience Chengdu's vibrant night markets and spicy hot pot. On one trip, I brought Midiem, Zhang and Mr. Li, to Chengdu. Standing before the majestic Wuhu Shrine, savoring the numbing spice of a Sichuan hot pot. Midiem. Zhang clutched my hand. Xiaoman, Chengdu is so good. Singapore is so good. We are all one family now. I smiled, tears in my eyes. My story was just one of countless others, but I hoped it would illuminate a simple truth. A truly human-centric place isn't defined by geography, but by the warmth of its people. True happiness isn't about a city's size or glamour, but the temperature of human connection. Whenever anyone asks why I knelt and wept that day, I always smile. It wasn't tears of sorrow, but a profound release, a recognition of true dignity in daily life. In that moment, I finally understood what it means to live a life of true happiness, not just efficiency. I still fly the world, but Changi is my fixed destination. Landing there, hearing the familiar blend of English and local dialects in the announcements, seeing the clear blue skies and the familiar cityscape, a profound sense of homecoming washes over me. Here, with Yaming, surrounded by the care of our community, I am writing my happy story. I no longer measure a place by its development or prosperity, but by its human connections, its societal warmth, its quality of life. Singapore, I often tell new friends, taught me that true progress isn't about speed, but about ensuring everyone lives a dignified life. True civilization isn't about how big a city is, but how warm its heart beats. Another spring evening, Jiaming and I walk hand in hand with our daughter, who has just learned to toddle, along the sandy shores of Palawan Beach. She chases a paper boat into the gentle waves, her laughter carried on the sea breeze. The setting sun paints the sky in hues of orange and pink, mirroring the warmth in our hearts. I look at my husband, my daughter, the playful children on the beach, the distant ships returning to port, and my heart swells with gratitude. Gratitude for the twist of fate that led me to Jiaming on a rainy day, for the courage to shed my prejudices and open my heart, and for Singapore, this island, and its people, who, in the most unassuming ways, showed me another way to live. Jiaming squeezes my hand. Later, we'll take our girl to explore all the beautiful places, both here and in China. I nod, my eyes glistening. The road ahead is long, but with his hand in mine, and the warmth of Singapore embracing us, every day is bathed in sunlight. In this fast-paced world, perhaps my story is a quiet reminder to slow down, to notice the humanity around us, to extend a little kindness. Because true happiness often hides in the simplest of daily moments, in a stranger's gentle smile, in a simple, "No worries, I trust you." And here, in Singapore, with Jiaming and our daughter, I will continue to pass on this warmth, this cross-cultural kindness, one grateful heart at a time.